Hello, Benjies, and welcome to BingeWorthy, part of the Geekish Network. We binge a show to let you know if you should. Now, today we're going to do something a little bit different today. We have a special guest. I am your host, Rakai Steve, the Noob from the Ville, and with me we have Randy, Catherine, Centel, and Chuck. And as we will make our quick introductions real quick, but I want to introduce our star of the moment, Mr. Earl Baylon, friend of the Geeks Network. He used to have a couple shows on the Geeks Network, but he is a high in demand actor right now, and he is the voice of Loris from Arcane Season 2. Mr. Baylon, welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank y'all for having me. Yeah, it's good to see y'all again. Yeah, it's like you said, I had a couple of shows back on the network a couple years ago, and yeah, it's good to see everybody. It's always good to be here. So, thank you for having me.
Randy, you want to say hello to the people?
Yo, what's going on, Geek Base? It's your boy Johnny Randolph.
Miss Catherine.
Hello from Memphis.
All right, that's right. Throw the M's up. Barbecue.
Yeah.
All right, Trey.
There we go. My bad for the audio. Oh, Miss Silly Home. Happy to be here.
All right, and the OG himself, Chuck.
What's up, everyone? We're back again.
Yeah, we're back. All right, so because we understand that our guest, he's on a limited time, so let's get this thing going. Catherine, would you like to lead off with the first question, ma'am?
Yes. So, hey, hello, Earl.
Hello.
Hello. What was your approach to bringing Loris to life, and how did you connect with the character on a personal level?
I, the way I usually like to work with a character is I'll take whatever's on the page and like whatever I get in the breakdown and try to identify kind of an emotional core to the character, like a central point from which like all their thoughts and actions come from. And basically with Loris, it's his loyalty. So especially in this case to not only Piltover but like Vi as well. So and everybody else on the strike team basically once he says he's in your corner, he's always in your corner no matter what.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Was it more difficult to bring Loris to life, being that he didn't have a lot of lines?
I think that what I got from like the breakdown, when we get like an audition, it kind of tells you like it gives you a breakdown of like the entire character, what his voice sounds like, what he looks like, what's going on in his head, what a little bit of background and all that. So I took all that and from the breakdown, I got a pretty clear picture of like what I wanted to do for
Okay.
Loris, and luckily for the audition they liked it and they cast me. So I just carried that over into the actual recording session. But,
Okay.
yeah, it wasn't like it wasn't it was a lot. I don't want to say easier, but I had more information to pull from than a lot of other gigs sometimes.
Okay. Now, Arcane has such a rich visual style.
Yeah.
How did the animation and the art direction influence your performance as a voice actor?
I think just looking at the art direction, you could tell that this is more it's a little more grounded, it's a little more serious, it's a little more adult. So I did try to keep Loris very grounded and very true, very not all the time serious, but like very much I wanted him to feel real, you know. So and it's one of those things where the Fortitia's art is like it's so beautiful. It's like watching a painting move. So you want to you want to perform to that level. And I did my best to do that. So hopefully that came through.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Chuck,
Can I ask a question? I have a question for you. You seem to play a lot of loyal characters.
Right.
If
what are you talking about?
He's also the voice of Jonah in Tomb Raider, both the video game and the animated series on Netflix. If y'all didn't know, shameless plug for you there.
Thank you. Oh my God, what shirt am I wearing?
And do you ever want to be a villain?
Well, I mean, we were just talking about Batman Arkham Shadow. That game just came out, and I do play villain in that one, like a really sadistic villain.
Oh, fun.
In Arkham Shadow. I don't want to like spoil too much, but he is a character from Batman the Arkham or Batman the animated series that they're bringing into like modern times. His name is Lyle Bolton, better known in the comics as Lockup. He's a law enforcement officer that like goes a little too far, So that's completely 180 from most of the things I play. But that was a lot of fun, and they really got me to really dig into some dark parts of myself. So I have gotten the chance. So I would love to go there again just to explore different kinds of bad guys. But yes, it was nice to have that in between Tomb Raider and Arcane.
Oh, fun, yeah. And you could hear it in spatial audio.
Right. Oh yeah, I haven't even thought about that. I don't know what that's gonna be like.
Yeah. Another question. Is there anybody in voice acting you want to work with? Like I want to work with this person. Animated series or a video game or both. Because there could be two different sets of things you want to work on.
I always shout out my boy Eric Bauza. Like I haven't worked with Eric. Well, I guess I worked on Trece but like it's always kind of a funny thing when you say, at least for voice acting, who's somebody you want to work with, because we always, at least most of the things I've recorded have been solo. In the booth, you know, it's just me, and then I read. The director reads with me. It's never another actor. Sometimes I get to read. I get audio from like another actor. For example, in Batman, I have a scene with Elijah Wood, and I get to we had his audio, so I got to work off him, which was great.
Nice.
But yeah, I almost never get to work with somebody. So actually, to work with anybody would be great.
Yeah.
You know?
Actually, it's funny because that was a question that we had about, you know, had you had the opportunity to work, to record alongside other voice actors in the same room. So how does that, if you have ever done that, ever been in the same room, how does that experience compare to recording solo, and how does it affect your performance?
I think it's very different. I should say that, like, when it comes to working with other actors in the studio, I have had the opportunity to do that in terms of performance capture. So any game that I worked performance capture wise, it was always with the other actors. We're in a big motion capture volume, working face to face with each other. So the Tomb Raider Survivor trilogy, Batman, Arkham Shadow, we were all in the motion capture volume. I got to work with the other actors, Roger, Craig Smith, and Darren DePaul mostly, for Batman. It is definitely a very different process. It's more like doing theater, actually, when we're in the motion capture volume. And I don't think either way is like better or worse for me. They're just different animals and different skills that you have to get used to. Some days I'm like, I just want to be in the booth and not have to put on a spandex suit and stick balls all over myself. But other days I'm like, I feel like acting across from somebody and like really getting into it. So I guess it depends on the day, but
okay,
they're both great.
Oh, I had a question. So voice acting requires a lot of emotional range. How do you prepare for intense emotional scenes? Do you have any techniques for getting into character? I guess both in just like the pure on like solo voice acting element, as well as even the mocap plus voice acting element as well.
I think that the process is similar between the two, in that everything for me, at least for me, starts from being in the correct headspace, you know, and having the right conditions in terms of like what is happening in the scene, and what things are affecting that headspace and that thought process at the particular time. And I've never felt like I have been led astray by that process, you know, as long as I keep an emotional space that is correct for the scene and the time, then it always has been like a good springboard for me to launch into something that's really both really emotional or really intense, and something that's very like understated. So for me, again, I know we talk about this a lot, but it all goes back to the emotional core, right?
Yeah. Nice.
Hey, Earl.
Yeah.
Were there any specific challenges you faced while voicing Loris, and how did you overcome them?
Loris. I will say that I don't know if there's anything that like stuck out to me. I think all the difficulties were probably in my head, because I was like, this is Arcane, man. This is Arcane, you know, and you just want to do good.
Right.
And I think if I had come across this role like early in my career, I would have been a lot more lost. You know, because like, you know, we don't get to spend a lot of time with him, and you do want to like make what you do have more impactful as possible. I'm not sure like a younger me would have been up to that challenge in terms of dealing with the pressure of working on such a big IP and giving myself the space and honestly the grace to be able to give myself the best performance or give a good performance. So I think a lot of difficulty was in my own head, but other than that, I let the writing speak for itself, and I just let the words, be what they were. So.
Do you have any dream projects that like pie in the sky? I want to work on these projects in mind, like future dream projects.
I've always said like I want to work on Transformers at some point. That'd be dope. I want to do like I've always wanted to work on WoW, on World of Warcraft.
That'd be awesome.
Like a something like with gravity, in like a Thrall or a Sylvanas, something like that, but something cool, But definitely those two, Transformers, WoW.
Okay.
So that
Final Fantasy. Oh, if I could
so Earl, so just jump in. But that's what I was gonna talk about was you are in WoW now. So like me and Earl, we've played WoW pretty much since the beginning of the game.
Right.
And I'm now doing the latest expansion is called War of the Within, and they have a race called they're dwarves, right? The Earthen. The Earthen. And I'm doing a quest, one of the campaign quests. Then all of a sudden I hear Earl's voice. I was like
I know that guy.
I know this guy. And I hear Earl's voice. And then the thing is, they actually use your voice on a bunch of the quest NPCs too.
Right.
So
I heard.
So like whenever I'm doing a quest or turning it in or going to buy like a certain item from a vendor, all of a sudden I hear your voice.
That's funny.
So like it is crazy. So like you are the voice, but I totally get it. Yeah, you definitely should do like Thrall or like somebody from the main character, that would be really, really awesome. But that's kind of leads.
Yeah, exactly. I want to be a dragon. Make me a dragon aspect, man.
So that kind of like leads me into my another question. I was like, what does it feel like to be a part? I mean, these are huge projects, bro. Like,
I know it's crazy, right?
Like these, like Arcane to Tomb Raider, the anime, like. WoW, Batman, like these are huge IPs. Like,
right?
How do you feel? Like, are you just constantly pinching yourself? What?
It's honestly, it's surreal. It's real surreal. Like, I will say, like, one of the times it hit me, like for reals, was working on Batman, walking on set the first day, and seeing Troy Baker there.
Wow.
And, and I'm sitting at the table with Troy, during lunch, and I was like, "This is wild. What is this project?" Because I didn't know too much about it yet back then. But working with Troy and Roger and all the people on that cast, it was wild. And I pinch myself every day. It's still very surreal to me that I get to talk about these, huge IPs. Like I'm involved somehow, and especially being a geek my entire life. It's been wild to think about it.
And
I have a question.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Captain.
I was just making a comment. Just living your geekdom fantasy in real life. So super awesome.
That is absolutely what it is. I can't even I can't put it any other way. It's like a dream come true, honestly.
Yeah. My question is, you said you want to be part of Transformers,
right?
Who do you want to play?
I knew that was the question. That was my question too.
I've always wanted to play Optimus. I don't know if I can.
I can see it. I can hear it.
I am Optimus Prime.
Oh. Peter Cullen, you better watch out, boy.
Like what? Hold on.
Yeah. Hey, how they get Chris Hemsworth? They just came and got you.
No, that is one. I mean, but I don't have to play often. There's so many other people, you know.
Yeah,
Ultra Magnus, that would be dope.
that's who I was thinking. I was like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
could
yeah.
Ultra
Rodimus, you
Magnus,
could do it. Yeah.
Omega
Rodimus,
Supreme,
yeah, Omega Supreme, all of them.
yeah,
Unicron?
Shockwave,
Unicron?
I know Unicron, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Unicron. I can hear Unicron.
I
Yes.
could do Unicron.
It's you and Orson Welles.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great company to be in the lineup. Like, yeah,
real.
you know who
If they
played
ever bring
Unicron before
Unicron
me?
back.
Orson played it.
No.
I replaced Orson Welles for Unicron.
It took 40 years, but 30 years, but
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah. Any other properties you want to be a part of that are from our childhood?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like G.I. Joe, for example.
G.I. Joe would be
I was
dope.
thinking Destro.
Destro, yeah, that'd be great.
I was thinking Destro.
Wait.
Masters of the Universe, that would be dope.
Oh.
You know, that's going on right now, right? If Turtles, you know, all that stuff, basically.
Weird question, but did you ever play D&D or any tabletop RPG? And if you could, would you is there a specific like personal character you'd like to voice?
Yeah, I've played D&D since I was 15. So I mean, I would I would love to, like, if I could get on the next Baldur's Gate, you know, it'd be dope. But it's funny, the characters that I play are very similar to the ones I play on the screen. So they're always this big dude that's like I play a lot of paladins, right?
See that, yeah.
One of my favorite characters is I played a Dragonborn Eldritch Knight. And if I could do that, if there was a character out there, you know, who was a Dragonborn Eldritch Knight in something animated, I would jump all over it if I could.
Oh, man, that'd be so
awesome. The
awesome.
Legend of Vox Machina coming up then, I guess. I guess that's gonna have to happen.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's petition that.
Yeah.
Y'all need to put him on the cast.
You hear that, Prime? Yeah.
Put him in the cast. Sure, he didn't do the D&D game with Critical Role, but it's okay. Just put him in there anyway.
Yeah, that would be great. I would love it. Another dream come true, you know.
Yeah. Are you playing D&D now?
I have a couple campaigns going. I'm not DMing any of them. I play every Thursday night with a group of friends online. We play Dragonlance, so it's
nice.
Dragonlance, and then I have a kind of long running game with a few friends that is actually Fallout RPG. So
nice. How is that?
It's good. Fun? It's also D20 based, but it's weird because everything is switched. So ones are good and 20s are bad.
Oh wow!
So it's a little reframing that needs to happen. But
It's like how you got to call out the rules when you play a game of spades. Okay, you gotta...
yeah. In some ways, that reminds me of Call of Cthulhu, even though it's not like it's different dice, but you know, you're not like D&D where you can fight everything. You have to avoid combat and more investigation.
I dig those too. I haven't played too many of those. Like, I played a bunch of Dresden Files for a little bit. Like a lot of the Fate stuff. Mage, the Ascension, some of the White Wolf stuff. So yeah, I love it all.
Nice.
Okay, and Earl, I know that your time is short, so just like two more questions.
Yeah, man.
One,
however long you need.
Trey was on with us, but he had a slight technical difficulty, so he's making his way back. But he did have a question for you, which was, who are some of your favorite voice actors and why?
Some of my favorite voice actors. I've always followed people that kind of have a similar voice print because, like, you know, just to study them and like what they do, and kind of like JB Blanc, Fred Tatasciore, Keith David, you know, Goliath. You gotta give props to Goliath.
Yeah.
So those guys, Dave Fennoy. I've not really worked with any of them, but like, I think I gravitate towards these dudes because like they kind of give me an idea of what I could play, you know.
Okay.
What would be possible for me to do. and kind of just the interesting things that they do with their voice in that range. I had to do a lot of learning in terms of like keeping my voice in this range for characters, because I tended to like go all over the place with my my range, and a lot of times I would get called out for it, like as a younger voice actor. So it was definitely a lot of learning from those dudes.
Okay. Well, and my last question for you, what are some upcoming projects that you have that maybe that you can tell us about? Are they all voice acting, or do you have some live action stuff? Because
there is some live action stuff coming out. What can I talk about? I have a quick co-star coming up on the new NBC series, St. Dennis Medical.
Oh, okay.
So that should be out next week. I have a couple other ones coming out next year that I can't really talk about. Yeah, I can't talk about those. What else? Fatal Fury is coming out next year. Mark of the, or City of the Wolves. I have a role in that. Yeah, I think that's it. A lot, like so many of my projects that I've been working on long term came out in these last 2 months, so it's been a trip.
Okay,
you've been busy.
yeah, I've been super busy. I'm tired.
Going on vacation?
You know, that's the thing about the industry, right? It's like, you know, everything stops for Thanksgiving week, and then it starts up a little bit again, and then for the holidays, it's just gone. So I'm looking forward to the holidays for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Mr. Baylon, Earl.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for coming on, gracing us with your presence tonight. It is much appreciated. And of course, because you are, you know, a friend of the network and you know, one of the OGs here yourself, please come back anytime. When these new projects come out, come back and let us know, because we would love to publicize them for you and talk to you anytime that we can get a few minutes of your time. We would appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's always fun to see everybody and catch up. So yeah, whenever I can come back, and whenever you would like me to come back, just let me know. For sure.
Absolutely.
Hey man, I am so sorry I missed you. I had some technical difficulties, but it's good.
Oh, it's all good.
I'll have to pick your brain a little bit later regarding some other stuff, man.
Yeah, absolutely. You know where to get at me. So
thank you so much.
Thanks, Earl.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
you. All right,
you.
y'all have a great stream.
Have a good one too.
All right.
I take care. Peace.
Good night.
Good night.
All right.
You're kidding me.
Thanks,
Sorry, bro. Sorry, bro.
Bro, you missed out.
Of all the times.
Of all the times.
Man.
All the times. It's the Murphy's Law.
And that counts extra for Mr. Murphy. That is something.
Yes, Murphy's Law.
But okay, so did you guys ask him my question?
Yes, we did.
Mm-hmm.
And he did say that, you know, people that have a kind of range and a voice is very similar to his. So Fred Tatasciore and JB Blanc and Keith David. So
okay,
yeah, he did answer your question.
Okay, all right, I'll take it.
Man.
Wow.
All right. But well, for those of you that are still with us, thank you for joining us for that wonderful special guest that we had, Mr. Earl Baylon. If you have not seen Arcane season 2 yet, that's why you're here, because we're going to talk about it. We binged it, and some of us truly binged it, and maybe even more than once. So we're going to talk about Arcane season 2. Really explores the dark sides of the characters. Sisters Jinx and Vi are far from reconciling. Jinx must now reckon with her reckless decision, which may have jeopardized any possibility for resolution between Piltover and Zaun, as well as the effects it will have on her relationship with Vi. Now, Rodney, who is the best technical director in the land, our technical producer, director, he's going to post our cast members' ratings for Arcane Season 2. And while he posts the ratings, we want to let you know that we rate the show at the beginning,
I don't think he,
post our ratings.
I don't think he can post.
Yeah, sorry. Just because with Earl and I got caught up with all that. Yeah, I got caught up on all that stuff.
We all had to call him out.
That's all right. Well, let's call him out. Okay.
Yeah. Right after you said I was the best technical director. Right after you said that. Sorry about that. I couldn't get to it.
Listen, you will have a sharply worded memo later. So no, all right. Well, we gotta go old school. We're gonna do this like the 5 heartbeats. Come on, let's get on the flow. What's the?
Is there hard? No.
I guess I'll go first. If you didn't call him by names,
okay.
I'll go first. I'm gonna give it a binge-worthy.
Okay.
There's a reason why I give it a binge-worthy, but we'll talk about that later. But I'm gonna give it a binge-worthy.
All right. Well, I guess I'll just round robin. I will go. I will throw mine out there, and then we'll move on. I also gave it a 5, a binge worthy. Mr. Randolph.
I'm gonna be the Eddie Kane Jr. Since you said we're talking 5 heartbeats, I'm gonna be the Eddie Kane Jr. of the group. I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm gonna give it a full binge out too.
Okay. Trey.
And this is the easiest rating I've had on this show. Easy binge out.
All right, and Catherine.
All right. Catherine gives it a binge-worthy, or I like to say cupcake.
Okay. All right. Now, it might be hard for me to figure out what the actual rating was at the end, but I'm going to guess and say that as a show, we gave it a 5, a full binge-worthy. So in this show, I know that it has been beloved by the audience, a bit maligned in a few places for a few different reasons, a little bit of a mixed reception. However, how do you guys think, how well does the show balance the plot, the character development, and any world building in this particular season, since it's the second and final season for the show? And I'll start with you, Mr. Randolph.
For me, what I enjoyed most about the show were the various elements of storytelling. I'm pretty sure it's going to be consistent across the board that the visuals were just absolutely outstanding. It's probably for me, the best visuals I've ever seen in an animated property, not named, across the Spider-Verse. That's the only rival that I can see that it has in this space. I thought the elements of the soundtrack were a very strong character in it that influenced the quality of the story. And as we just had one of the voice actors on there, I thought it was absolutely outstanding. If I had to just demark a little bit, it may have been to some plot devices. We had a lot of characters, I thought, in this, and it may have influenced the pacing of the characters. And so it didn't necessarily, for me, the plot points didn't necessarily all coalesce. We had so many of them, and it didn't seem like we had a 5-yard dash towards the ending. Still a great show, but I just thought all of the other elements around it, visuals, storytelling, the soundtrack, the voice acting, is what really stood out. And that's how the world building helps sustain and be an attraction for me.
Okay. Catherine, what about you?
I pretty much agree with all his points. Like visually stunning, beautiful. They also don't, like, in terms of focusing on certain characters and certain like emotional moments, they don't say it, they show it. And they do a really good job of like showing what is happening on screen without showing too much at times. And I agree with the sound, like it's its own character, married with various styles of animation too. It's not even just what we see in this background and everything. These play with different styles, and that's also delivering on those arcs. I think for me, in terms of like little nitpicks, it'd just be the way it wrapped. It seemed like it was rushed, but I know they plan to have 5 seasons. But outside of that, it had very strong like arcs and moments that really were very emotional. And this is probably one of the top shows I've seen in my lifetime. So just shows all across the board. But yeah, that's in a nutshell.
Okay. Trey?
As far as plot goes, I mean, it had a really good mix of like social issues, like coming of age for some of the characters. You know, it's got some family stories that are going along with it. So it was a good mix of things that I thought we spent a decent amount of time with. I know some people have problems with the pacing, but it was cool. Yeah, I think that's it for now without going too deep into it.
Okay,
save some other questions.
And I want to ask this, and I'm not gonna comment on this one because you guys have pretty much said everything I wanted to say, so I'm cool with what you said. But I did want to ask because just based on some conversations, Chuck, what is your answer to this question, sir?
Um, uh, I loved everything about the show except the pacing. The pacing, they went to the Marvel X-Men School of '97, and they took all the plot lines and tried to get as many champions as they possibly could into this show, and it kind of felt like some things were rushed. Some things I wanted to simmer on and just think about in the story, right? Like the way they introduced new champions and I don't have a problem with characters not being explained who they are, but I want to have enough time to get to know those characters. And I felt that sometimes we didn't have enough screen time for all the characters to get to know them. And some of them were very interesting, and we learned only a limited amount of their abilities. It's like, oh, you underutilized that character, and I thought that was only my issue. But the biggest character in this whole thing is the art style.
Yeah.
The art style is the biggest character of this whole entire show.
Oh yeah.
The art was
Yeah,
so
they
good.
flexed. They
The
flexed.
yes, they did. And
Amazing.
sometimes I saw little jumps in animation, but that was rare and in between. But they were like, "Hey, we're even gonna cheapen the animation and go to a painter style that is also very expensive." It was kind of interesting seeing that. What you gonna say, Catherine? Yeah.
When you said jumps in animation style,
Mhm.
there are specific points in the show where they actually utilize that as a part of the character that they're
Mhm.
focusing on. I'm not trying not to spoil it, but if you notice, you'll know.
Mhm.
But they definitely do utilize that for certain
Mm-hmm.
characters.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's like, wow, that was supposed to lessen the cost of this, but I don't think it really did a good job at that. I don't
Uh,
think that, I think you failed at lessening the cost of this a very expensive, gorgeous anime. This is the Rolls Royce of
Absolutely.
animated properties. We used to
yes.
think it was Pixar. No,
No.
And
no.
whatever they spent, I feel
Pixar,
like it was justified.
DreamWorks.
They
I feel like
wish.
I feel like it was justified, whatever they spent. I know
Yeah.
there's
Part.
discussions about the budget and overtime,
Yeah,
I feel
but
that.
it was worth it.
the
Yeah.
art was so
And
good. I'm like, I'm
normally,
totally distracted here.
Me
no,
too.
normally budget distracts me, but not this. It was so
Hmm.
good. I was like, whatever the price tag. It's still expensive. Like, don't get twisted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dumb expensive, but yeah, that's fine. If you can give me that type of quality,
Right.
yeah,
I'm gonna
we'll
let
check that bad boy.
I'm gonna let the accountants figure out the price
Yeah,
tag.
Yeah,
I'm here for
yeah.
I'm here for the
Um,
show.
There's
Yeah.
there's a
Uh,
scene in animation. Every frame is a picture.
Yep.
And literally in this, every frame is a picture. I paused it on nothing but motion blur. It was like the last couple episodes, none but a motion blur scene. And I was like, this is even pretty.
mhm.
Yeah.
This is
Wow.
where you cheapen. This is the light work is pretty. And I was thinking, oh my God, they drew all the lights on it. This is not a lit room. They lit it in post.
Yeah,
Like,
and
this is crazy.
and some of those backgrounds are just like, they had characters against like no like they painted those backgrounds and
And all
placed
the
them in
backgrounds are painted. Yeah, layered.
yeah. I was studying their
It's
textures.
crazy.
I
Yeah.
wish I had the vocabulary that Chuck and Catherine have. I'm just like, it was pretty. And I like it.
It looking
So-
nice.
so-
I
so-
like it.
That's all that need to be
It
said.
was
You know how the
nice.
buildings look three-dimensional?
Yeah.
They're not three-dimensional. They're
Yeah.
cards. They're literally
Yeah.
like
Like,
cards
okay, I
held up
couldn't
in
do
front
it,
of
but
each
okay,
other
I
like
failed.
this. And looks three-dimensional. That is expensive. And they have lights. You know how you put lights on a model? They didn't put lights on the model. They drew them.
Frame by
So,
frame.
so they make a mistake. They got to erase, go back 20 frames and redo the whole entire thing over again.
Yeah. They're really like
Wow.
I hate this painter like reference. And now I can't think of it. That that cheap painter you go to the mall and he paints those really weird backgrounds. Thomas Kincaid, who paints light.
Mhm.
They did the
Mhm.
I don't like that reference. They did that they painted with light with this film
Yeah.
or show, my bad.
No,
This
I
this
know
is
it's
definitely like it mixes new technology with a very, very old way of drawing.
Yeah.
Not doing animation, just drawing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me throw something out there real quick, Catherine and Chuck. Just real sorry, Car.
Go ahead.
Does this style become the standard like 10 years from now? And we're just like Arcane, they were just ahead of their time.
If anything, I think this will push for a variety of styles. It does kind of remind me of like this when Spider-Verse came out, that really shook up how some animation studios, like large animation, really Hollywood animation studios, kind of approach animation. Because you'll find a lot of this in indie animation. Indie animation, you'll see a variety of styles within the United States. I'm just talking about the United States right now. But in Hollywood, it's very particular. But Spider-Verse, and I think even Arcane are gonna like push the doors with what you like different styles on like bigger budget animation.
So just off of that comment, I have a quick, just something I want to throw out there. So do you think that Arcane season 1 came out in 2021, and they had been working on season 1 since 2015? They worked on season 1 for 6 years before it actually showed up. Do you think, I mean, when was the first Into the Spider-Verse? It was after 2015, right? Like
Uh,
2017, 2018?
I have to look that up.
I mean,
It was during the
and the
pandemic,
reason
like
I ask is, do
2020,
you
wasn't it?
think were they influenced
2018.
by it?
2018.
Yeah. So do you think after it came out, so they still had 3 years left to work on this until it came out? Do you think they watched Into the Spider-Verse was like, whoa, that
Mm-mm.
influenced them a little bit,
Mm-mm.
or maybe influenced this season at all, or
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
no? Okay.
The
No,
things they had to develop to get this is hard.
yeah.
Okay.
They also kind of started like playing with this style for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd also argue, like, especially Fortiche just in France, they are very experimental. Like they're way more open about animation and more like instead of here, it's like people see animation for kids, and that's not animation, just in general. It's for everyone. It's an art form. But in France, like Gobelins, one of the schools in France, they are very like experimental with art styles and trying different things. Almost like a Renaissance approach to like animation.
Not mad at it. Not
Yeah,
mad at it.
yeah.
Hmm
All right.
How the British look at acting, like
Mm-hmm.
stage acting and screen acting,
Yeah.
is how French look at animation.
hmm
Oh, okay.
This is something that's beloved and it has to be cultivated. So you go to Annecy, which is the big animation convention, which is in of all places there,
Yeah.
and they have all kinds of animation. And they specialize in shorts because people want to see new things. They want to
hmm
see
Okay.
daring people.
That makes sense. Yeah,
It,
it's time and cost effective. Yeah.
hopefully this is still happening, but a good kind of looking at different shorts showcase that used to happen in different states is animation show of shows. I don't know if they're still doing that, but they used to showcase indie shorts. So I do recommend that if that's still happening, I need to look this up, but look into animation show of shows.
Okay. I agree with everything you guys said about plot, and I just think my only disappointment, not that it took away from the whole show, but the last 2 episodes, there was just too much to handle. It was just too much to get done in the last 2 episodes. They waited too long to start wrapping up stuff. And that leads me into the next question, which are standout performances that elevated this show. I'm going to start 2 characters for me. And y'all might have the same ones. OG, Ambessa,
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
and the other one, of course, to me, probably most important person on this whole show, the boy savior, Echo.
Yeah, yeah. Those were same mine too as well.
And I don't want to get into actual like specific stuff. I'll let you guys talk about it. I just want to throw that out there because I don't want to get into spoiler territory. But to me, those were 2 of the best characters on the entire show. Any standout performances for you guys that elevated the show this season?
I'm gonna say Powder/Jinx.
Mm-hmm.
I think she stepped up. The range of emotion she had.
Mm-hmm.
Like she still felt I'm the girl that always messes up,
Mm-hmm.
and it hurts everybody around me. But when her and Isha got together,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that whole relationship,
Oh man.
that
Mm.
whole relationship. I don't want to spoil anything. I want to tell people
It was special.
it was very, very special
Yeah.
because you know what she went through, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, wow, they could have a whole season just about that, just about that, just
They
about
really
that.
could have.
And just about her, because even the interactions with Echo, I think that episode was the best episode I've seen of animation in a very, very long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was the things that weren't said between them. It was the way they actually looked at each other. It was gorgeous. It was stunning. I don't know. I'm in a romantic era of animation right now with me. I'm watching like family anime with Centel. I'm watching relationship anime with Centel. And so it's like I'm in that stage of people actually having relationships together and just understanding what that really means.
Yeah, and
And
for
everything
everybody,
hits me in my heartstrings. I'm tearing up on everything. Everything has me tearing up right
that
now.
means that you're getting vintage. Welcome, welcome,
Oh man.
welcome. You're like, who is in here cutting these damn onions?
Yeah, all the time, all the time. And
The
this
pollen count in
season,
this closed room is high.
this season had me there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I felt
Several
for
times.
Kate.
It
I
was a
felt
couple
for
times.
Kate. Like that had and it's interesting.
Yeah. Anyone else? Standout performances.
I'm
just
gonna
piggyback off of Rakai. Just what was the black woman? What was
and Bessa.
I mean,
Bessa.
your series gonna be as good as your villain, right? And it's like old school badass villain. So your protagonists and your heroes have to rise to that level, and that's all I'm gonna say. And so that was the mic drop. She was the mic drop for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna add.
And she never wimped out. Like she was hardcore through and through. And like the whole from the rooter to the tutor.
Yeah, let's just
What are you gonna say, Catherine?
He doesn't disappoint.
I was gonna add to Invessa, something I just kind of looked into. If you've watched Arcane, or if you're going to watch Arcane, I'd highly suggest looking at Invessa's music video. That kind of gives a good backstory to the
video.
Blood, sweat, and tears. The singing voice of Ambessa was Cheryl Lee Ralph, and she kills it. Kills it.
Yeah.
If there was a live action version, that's who I would identify to play her, is Shirley Ralph.
I mean, one of my favorite black villains modern was Killmonger. I mean, I thought that performance was incredible. I think Ambessa might be my new favorite black villain. Like, I think she got the throne. Like that performance was exceptional. Be it visually or through the voice acting, it was impressive, and it redefined how I looked at the bad guy again. I was like, I like this old school.
And the writing was consistent. It was never a point we were like, nah, she wouldn't have done that. I was like, she did. In this season, like, she would have done that.
One thing I say that Arcane made me do that I think is really good in Luck on Riot Games is they made me go back and look at the lore. This is a game that really didn't have any lore. They just had champions. And people made their own story. Then somebody said, like in 2008, what are we doing? I mean, like 2010 or 11, like, what are we doing? We got to give these champions stories. People are asking us, who are these champions now? Because they play with it so much. And they start giving all these stories to them. And then I start reading the lore videos and breaking down what land is what is Noxus, what is it really is, where are these people from? It's like, wow, I want to see these stories. I'm like, this is better than Star Wars. This is very interesting. This is like Warhammer 40,000. This is next level stuff. And I'm like, we need to see this.
Yeah, and I'm gonna ditto on like looking into the lore. I'm probably never gonna play League of Legends, sorry, but I was really curious to learn more about this world and just like, what are the possibilities with this franchise? So just amazing.
I agree on that 100%. Like, after, as much as I thought season 1 was phenomenal, but for whatever reason, and it may have been me personally, like the space I was in, the headspace I was in when it came out in 2021, coming off the back of the pandemic, I was like, that was beautiful, but I kept it moving. But if something about this, maybe, yes, I done got into my vintage stage and just my eyes start sweating for no damn reason. And so I'm watching this. I was like, this is beyond bananas, beyond incredible. So now I need to know more. I need to know the lore. I need to know about Noxus. I need to know about Demacia. I need to know about Ionia. Like, I need to know about all this stuff is going. And like you, Catherine, I probably won't play the game.
The game doesn't tell you.
But if there are books, if there are graphic novels, if there, I know that there's some cinematic videos on YouTube. Like, I am devouring all of the stuff to learn as much about this as I can now, and that's where I'm at.
They have graphic novels and they have books. This world has been fully
I'm about to be
built
on
out
it
and fleshed out. And so I was like, I don't care what's going on here. Netflix, get your stuff together. Invest in this property more.
Yeah,
Just keep pumping into it.
And release it in theaters. I think it like
Yes.
the concern I have is like it being on Netflix is it's not going to make the return on investment. And really, if you release it in theaters or release it in theaters first, make a film really. They could really hone in on that. Have fun watch parties. Make it into
each
a
arc.
Yeah.
So this is what we watched. We would just watch six movies.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would have stayed in the movie theater all day.
The whole time.
See this on the big screen. Just like, I ain't doing nothing all day but going to see Arcane season 2. I pick up popcorn bucket and I'm good.
Yeah. I can see my kids complaining now. Daddy, we ready to go. Take your ass to the food court. Watching the movie.
You can even kind of gamify like the theater experience in playing with like unique screenings and like having the same film but have unique aspects of that screening.
Could you see like if they did something like that now, or said there was another season coming and they were going to do it a premiere in the movie theaters? You know how many people would come dressed up as the characters? Like that is all over Instagram and TikTok right now.
All of them.
The cosplay would be amazing.
Also the popcorn buckets.
So if y'all didn't know, Netflix did do screenings of Arcane. They screened it here in LA at the Egyptian and at the Netflix theater because they do want it to be nominated for awards across
it's winning
award shows.
It's gonna win some awards.
It's to the point where I'm like, pull away from the TV shows and make it all movies and put this out there. Netflix, if you want to attack theaters, this is a great way to attack theaters.
It absolutely is. Now that they have an established property like this that is that damn good,
if they wanted to, they could drop one every quarter, just one movie every quarter, 2 hours every quarter, and people would go to every single last one as long as
absolutely. I would go to watch the older one to catch up, for the newer one that was going to be released,
Yeah.
I want to see this in IMAX. I want to see this on a big screen possible.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be crazy. Some of the art styles.
Oh,
I'd be in there weeping like a little girl with a skin knee. I don't want that shit.
Yeah.
Like this popcorn butter is too salty.
And the audio with the music and everything. Oh man.
Are we kicking off the campaign tonight to, we need another season?
Netflix movie series.
The Netflix movie series.
The Netflix movie series.
Okay.
Y'all said the TV's too expensive. You can't throw it in theaters. Give us movies and throw them in theaters.
Yeah. Oh, they get their money back real quick.
Oh yeah.
So, to y'all, were there any recurring themes or motifs that added depth to this narrative?
Actually, I wouldn't say there's anything that added depth. One thing I want to call out is gonna make Randy roll his eyes. This was truly about family. This was truly.
I knew where you're going.
Every episode,
but it is.
It actually is, though.
It
really is.
It is.
And the beautiful thing about it is that even though it's about family, it's not just blood-related family, because I know that a lot of people coming into this, the lore itself was kind of wishy-washy, and people didn't know whether Vi and Jinx were actual sisters. And when this came out, Arcane came out and became the actual canon, and it said, yes, they are actual sisters. But the beautiful thing about this is not about blood family as much as it is about found family.
Yeah.
Family is family. No matter whether blood or found, family is family. I think also the duality and consequences. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of actions that happen, and some people really don't think about the consequences for those actions, and it has a domino effect that rings all the way through all 18 damn episodes. So I thought that was interesting. And I don't know if y'all did. I did. I actually did it today, as a matter of fact, just to be ready for tonight. I went back and started season 1, episode 1, and binged all 18 episodes today.
Oh,
it hits different. Now that I know where season 1, now that I know where it was going, there were so many things that happened in season 2 where I can directly call back to, oh, that's little dude from season 1, episode 1, or that happened here. Like, it was so much stuff that I could really draw the connections where I couldn't do it in the moment.
have to do the binge watch party. I'd also add, like, when you were saying like cause and effect, there's also love and hate and that connection with cause and effect as well. And I know there's a great quote about it. I'm not going to mention the quote or anything, but when you see it, you see it. Yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, but definitely that, and just kind of change over time.
Yeah, I think, Catherine, to that point, I think what you said, not duality, but when one person, like these two people are connected, when one person's up, the other person's down. If
Mm-hmm.
this one is happy, then this one's sad. If this one's angry, then this one is, joyous or whatever. Like there is a direct correlation in some of the characters where that duality, it's almost like they stay completely balanced with each other at all times. I thought that was super fascinating.
It's very yin and yang.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the most pronounced theme throughout the season 2. That is this duality that we live in.
Mm-hmm. And you can even see that with Piltover and Zahn, and that being another duality.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like,
so
like-
one, no, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, well, as far as like some of like the motifs that add a little bit depth to the narrative, I think that there's something to be said about the quieter moments where they allow the artists to really express themselves. Everything from watercolors to different frame rate changing, so all kinds of stuff. Like they'll take like a smaller moment, even if it's just a flashback and something that can kind of like easily be done and thrown away. They made it like really artistic, and especially in the very beginning, like the opening scenes, they did that a lot too. So I thought that was a cool thing that just kept you bring it back to see like, okay, well, how are they gonna flex now?
And then the music to go with it.
Oh man, that music's banger. I
Yeah.
need to get the record. It's so beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
add that to your playlist.
All the
Really knows
elements
how to fit
around
the
the
moments.
storytelling, like this is kind of a masterpiece in just storytelling about everything, from his visuals to his music to his voice acting to the motion. It's a chef's kiss. It really is.
yeah.
Mhm.
All right, so one last question before going, and don't go into any spoiler territory. The ending. This was a series finale, and they've said, there's some other stuff from the universe coming. How do we feel about Arc 3 or the ending, the final episode?
I'm gonna say I'm saddened.
Saddened that it's quitting or saddened about the ending?
Saddened that it's over.
Okay.
The way they ended. Um, I think this was for Tish and Riot sticking their foot in it and saying, "Hey, we had way more story than this, you guys,
Mhm.
and we actually truncated it down. And this is what you're gonna get. And if you would have let us paint our masterpiece the way we wanted to paint it, we would have gave you the Sistine Chapel.
Mm.
Instead,
Yeah.
we gave you the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
So
And I think
is that a smile or is that a smirk? Like, okay.
Yeah, it's like I think they showed some of the champions and some of the situations just to let them know we were on top of our bag on this. We were on
Mhm.
top. It's like we did one three-peat. Jordan came back and y'all decided to break the whole entire team up forever
Mm,
and get rid of
yeah,
him too and say we're not going to
that's,
make that. We're not going to blow up
that's
second
real talk,
three-peat.
B. It's real talk, B.
But the way it ended, I was satisfied. It's like looking at the Mona Lisa, but I could have been looking at the Sistine Chapel. And
Mm.
I felt like the creators were thumbing their fingers into this. Like, look what the fuck y'all made us do. And I could feel that.
Yeah.
But do you feel like it's better to go out on top and have us wanting more? Because now we'll devour whatever else they put out next instead of,
Yes.
it jumping the shark and then you hit that last few seasons of Game of
You're
Thrones
like,
territory and you're like, what the hell?
that's
What?
true too. That's true too. But I can't imagine working on something 9 years and only seeing the first act of it. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
this was to be the first act. And we built out this whole entire world and we had the stories and we got it approved and everything was there. Then some bean counter said that line of business doesn't make enough money, kill it.
Yeah.
Mm.
It wasn't like it faltered because of creativity. It faltered because some bean counter that's not attached to that the company's attached, but the parent company said, kill that thing. That's way too expensive. I don't know what that's for. And they killed it.
Mm.
And it might even be, I'm not sure about like Netflix attitudes towards like the animation as a whole. It might be because it's also animated and the budget's this high, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate. Like that's not animation should have like be able to have those big budgets like all these live action films, but that could have been the part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the crazy thing about that is they pay, so if budget is an issue, $250 million for 18 episodes for 2 seasons. But, and Trey and I talked about this the other night, each one of the Spider-Verse movies was $150 million for a 2-hour movie. I mean, you put together how long these episodes, each one of these episodes is 40 minutes. So, I mean, you got like 18 hours of TV almost, or, you know,
but
12 hours,
Spider-Verse
13
$1
hours.
billion, so we don't think about that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's true. You definitely, you got the return on investment on that 300 million you spent for 2 movies. I get it. Which is why I'm fully in support of, you know, like you said, maybe this should have become a movie and went to theaters. Or at least after you did season 1, you dropped season 2 in the theaters. Like at that point, you don't won the Emmys. Like it's like, oh yeah, if you build it, they will come.
They would have endgamed this too. They would have had that like draw if they did this. They would have had it would have been an event. You'd have, as to mention, seen people dress up. Like, yeah, I hope they can do that still, even though it's on Netflix. But I'm not sure.
Not only that, they would have made a mint. They'd have made a mint on re-showing season 1 in theaters right before season 2 came out. Made a mint.
I think they would have.
The merch they would have made. Can you imagine all the people out there buying the merch? For
the gloves.
I bought the limited edition DVD Blu-ray.
The popcorn buckets.
Yeah, the popcorn buckets, the merch, Comic-Con coming up, Blurred Con coming up. I mean,
people buying new games.
Possibilities.
Yeah.
The theme park
Yes,
possibilities.
theme parks. They could have. I mean, they could have done like I know they did some location-based like boba tea places, but they could have really played that up, especially with the emergence of immersive experiences. I'm kind of being selfish and that, but they could have really played into that some more.
Had a firelights ride where you like on the hover skateboard thing, like
they weren't thinking big enough for whatever they spent on. They weren't thinking big enough with the return.
Because they was eating croissants and drinking lattes and boo boo and no.
Fortige probably thought of it. Netflix and Riot probably didn't think of it doing what it did.
Or what did you say? 10 cents.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It could have been a Netflix thing, and then just again the Western Hollywood attitudes of animation. So
what people care to forget is Netflix halted all their internal animation. You know, they came out with Klaus. They came out with Maya and the Three. They came out with some bangers.
Yeah.
Then they were like, you know what? This thing is animation's way too expensive. We don't want to spend Spider-Verse money on Spider-Verse properties.
Nope. We're gonna put all of our money into which is crazy though, because you know, Stranger Things is ending. Like they need some more, you know.
But Stranger Things is not necessarily for children.
It's not, but I'm saying you got Avatar, The Last Airbender, you got, I don't know, Wednesday, and that's not for children really either. So
no. So it's really interesting. I don't know. Maybe Netflix is like, we have Coco Melon and that's all we really need. And we're gonna be printing children money forever because Coco Melon's crack. Kids hear that tone, they run straight to the TV.
Yeah, but I also wouldn't say Arcane's for children. It's definitely
Arcane's not for children. Yeah, that's not for children at all.
Yeah.
You know, and Hollywood has stated G children's movies do better than anything else, right?
Yeah, PG movies do better than anything else.
I wonder if they're going to have an uncut version of this, because they did reel back on a certain sequence that happens that was supposed to be way more graphic than what it was.
Yeah,
I thought that what they put in was too much. I was like, really? Okay, we held
back. They held back on
that.
Where we get it from? It just came up. I was like, what the hell?
Because the reason why they did that was because of the game's rating. So they had to match the game's rating. Otherwise, it would have been like probably RNC-17.
I still thought what they put in the movie, I was like, we get it. We know. I don't need to see that.
Snyder cut. You make the Snyder cut.
And somebody's drawing all that for frame after frame. Use a freak.
I mean, they did that with Twilight of the Gods. They had a little, puppet action with characters in Twilight of the Gods.
Yeah.
So
Can you imagine? You just kept drawing it, drawing it, paint it, drawing it, and then somebody said, "Yeah, we're gonna cut all that out." Like
I
what?
love the gods.
That's what they do. That's what they do. They had a 3D model, so you saw the 3D models there, then you paint on top of.
You didn't jeopardize my relationship at home because I'm over here drawing this freak stuff. Now it ain't even gonna be in a.
Now the beauty of all of this is Fortiche is still around. This property, the ending of this property, I don't say cancellation because they properly ended it. Doesn't kill that production company, and they had their own original production coming out. You know, Penelope of Sparta is coming, so quite excited about that.
Have you all seen ads for it? Like, I know we're geeking out of it, and the people in my, a couple of degrees of separation are absolutely losing their minds for it. But outside of that, I don't really see a lot of people talking about it, and I don't see no ads. So I know we're excited, but how's everybody else like responding to it? No, I mean, even I looked on Netflix top projects, and it's like number 5 in TV.
5,
which is really surprising. It's like, how can something this good be that low? I don't.
Well, I mean, it
should be holding the number 1 spot for. Like,
it was number 1 when
for like a week.
The first arc came out. It was number 1 when the second arc came out, but people got a little bit upset when the third arc, when the final arc dropped.
So I missed a lot of the public discord regarding what people were angry over.
Yeah, when the third,
what was it?
Which
what
is
was
crazy
the thing that people were upset about?
Episode 8, 9, the final episode 9.
Open storylines.
I also
close things off. They gave us
even though episode 7 might be like Chuck said, might be one of the best in the entire series.
I love 7.
And then they gave us Chuck E. Cheese ending, right? Where kids are begging to go something, they begging for something. So you say, "We're going to Chuck E. Cheese today," and they're like, I forgot about. Let's go to Chuck E. Cheese. And they gave it to us in the very 2 last episodes. They did what Game of Thrones kind of did, but way better.
See, when you say Game of Thrones ending, I think of those water bottles and Starbucks cups. At least didn't see that.
That's a team that didn't care, and this is a team that cared way too much.
Yeah, I also wonder, because I don't know what Netflix's matrix is with ratings, so I also wonder if that's going to shift throughout the week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I guess it's I don't even know why we need to do this, but let's do it anyway. Let's re-rate the show and see if our discussion has changed anyone's mind. I'm sure that someone may have changed, their rating may have changed, and I'm going to start with you, Trey. Did your rating change, sir? What is your rating now?
Absolutely not. I think it's one of the greatest animated series of all time. I mean, it's pretty much the greatest, and for me, it may be a top 5 of just serialized viewing in general. It's incredible. It's one of those moments where what do they call it? Water cooler moment shows. You had to be there when it happened, kind of thing, and I'm happy that we got a chance to see it in the moment. It's dope. It's a piece of history.
Okay. Randy, what do you think, sir?
There's very few properties that get living art like in its own time and to be respected. And like I said, I asked earlier the questions like, does this become the standard 10 years from now? Because I still see in the future people looking back in amazement of what we got a chance to see. So I was going to be a contrarian and say I went down, but I can't even play like that. This is all the way a 4 binge out.
Okay. All right. Chuck, what do you think, sir?
I'm giving it a cringe-worthy. I'm gonna my rating number 1. Just messing around. Just play it. It is a full binge out. It is still beautiful, even in its flaws. It's perfect. Because I know what they were up against. I'm a producer. I know how producers think, and I know when non-creators jump in creative bags and ruin it. And I think this suffered from that, but they came through better than anybody could ever imagine. This is an amazing show. The eyes of people were so alive. Usually people hit Uncanny Valley. I wanted to go watch Love, Death, Robots after this, and I was like, Love, Death, Robots was pretty, but it ain't this.
Right. That's right. It's a masterpiece, but you look at this, you like,
this is next level. I watched Love, Death, Robots. Y'all ran into the Uncanny Valley, and this danced all around it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I felt these characters were real. They're real humans, and they really exist. I think you can't put any rating on that. Really, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, I think one of the most beautiful things about this show, and I'm gonna stay at a 5 at a full binge out. I was able to have really meaningful conversations with my two oldest teenage children, 15 and almost 17. And we were talking about themes and motifs and the certain characters and what they loved. And even my oldest son put me up on something that I completely missed. And it was wonderful. I mean, like I said, it spurred me on to want to know more, want to get into lore, want to buy the books. That is a binge out property if ever there has been one that has that kind of effect on you. You know, I'm still not on playing the games.
Yeah.
And to be completely honest, I don't really have a whole lot of times. My PlayStation 5 probably got dust on it, got cobwebs on it right now. So if my youngest boy is not in my room playing it, I don't crack it. I got stuff to do. So which may be to Trey's point is why maybe not a lot of people are talking about this. You know, they have that aversion to animated stuff. So, but I'm a full binge out, and I am leaving to uh, bat last to Grand Slam, knock us out of the park. Miss Catherine, what is your rating, ma'am?
It is absolutely a binge worthy, and I'm gonna just, looking at the people who are skeptical about animation,
Tell them, come on.
watch this show. I don't care like what age, well, maybe not, but don't be a baby, but watch this show. It is amazing. It is a treat. It is beautiful. And I see this show really pushing animation forward. I see this like really inspiring whole generations of people doing their thing that they want to do and do that. But watch this show. Watch all of it. Watch it. It is beautiful. It is a treat.
2024 has been a good year for animation.
Mm-hmm.
Oof. All right, I want to say thank you to everyone who tuned in with us, and again, a very special shout out to our special guest at the top of the show, Mr. Earl Baylon, who voiced Loris in this season and voiced many other things. You definitely have to go check out his work. Thank you to all of my wonderful co-hosts, Miss Catherine, Trey, Randy, and the OG himself, Chuck, and our wonderful, super wonderful technical producer, Rodney Cajudo, is in the back. If you have any graphic needs, any web stuff, marketing, anything like that you need, make sure that you check out Digital Click. They do all of our graphics and keep us looking good. With that said, we will be back next week. And you'll see some advertisements. Make sure that you keep checking the Geekish Network on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, and find out what we're going to be covering next week. Thank you a lot. See you next week.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah.
Happy Turkey
Happy
Day.
Turkey Day.
Food coma day.
Everybody going to get the itis.
Yeah.